All right, so today we're going to be discussing some of the things. I know this call is not going to be sexy. It's not going to be sexy. It's not going to be exciting. It is going to be downright just very granular. And it's interesting if you guys have known me for a while, this is something that, I kind of geek out on because it's important for us to be able to really know and take the mystery out of the sales process. Who would like that? Who'd like to know how to take the mystery out of the sales process? Raise your hand for me. None of you. Awesome. One person. That's great. I'm super glad that the rest of you just want to freaking wing it. But those that don't want to wing it, those that want to really get duplicatable results, those that want to be able to say, hey, if I know if I do 1, 2, 3, then I'm going to get, XYZ to happen, then this is the call for you. Okay. So welcome to this week's masterclass where we're going to be discussing how to create a business that you can depend on. Let me repeat that again. This is a business that you could depend on. This is something that you can control. We've talked yesterday about, things that we can't control, and that's okay because there's so many things that we can control. We discussed yesterday, and I apologize for those that weren't, with us, the ways in which we can continue to educate ourselves, better ourselves so that we can do a better job of being able to deliver massive value to our clients because that's what they expect. Now, today, we're going to be discussing how to really get laser focused on the money-making activities that's going to generate the income that you want. Because here's in the past, when I used to go to Tom Ferry events and they would say, okay, we're going to do our business planning event. And they would say, okay, how many transactions do you want to come from, let's say, your sphere? And I'd say, I don't know, 6. I'll just make up some random number out of my butt. And they'd say, cool, that's awesome. But how did you come up with that number? And so today we're going to look at how many transactions do we really want to do? Hey, Kim, good to see you. How many transactions do we want to do? And what are the things that we can do that we have control over to make sure that we have the best outcome from those transactions? So let's take one of the things, and I think Sphere is an easy one to do. And obviously you can couple Sphere plus your past clients, kind of mix them together, although they're really two different lead sources for me. But let's talk about our Sphere, right? Now, all of us have people that we know that know, and trust us, right? Now, that number could be either small or big, but in that specific group of people, if you just kind of hope and pray that they will reach out to you when they're ready to make a move, then guess what's going to happen? It's going to depend entirely up to them if they reach out to you. But whose responsibility is it for them to reach out to us? Is it their responsibility or our responsibility? What do you guys think? Yeah, we say ours and we think that, but we don't do the actions that are needed for that, right? So if you don't have it systematized in your phone, in your calendar, and what you're going to do to connect with them, then it won't happen. And trust me, guys, I used to work that way all the time. I'd get so pissed off when one of my people that I knew that knew me, you use somebody else to buy or sell real estate. Like I would literally list them. I would not want to have anything to do with them ever again. I would tell my spouse, I'm like, we can no longer talk to these people. Like they are dead to us. Who's ever done that before? I most certainly have. And so and it was a really horrible way to live because it was just, I felt so infuriated that they didn't call me, right? Like they should be calling me. And I realized over the years is it's not their responsibility. It's not their fault. It's my fault. I got to take ownership of it. And so if I'm not reaching out, if I'm not delivering value to them on a consistent basis, then guess what's going to happen? They're going to forget. I mean, for goodness sake, sometimes our own, siblings or parents forget what we do for work, right? And so if we're not top of mind every single day, if we're not delivering value to them, then even though they might know that we're a realtor, it doesn't matter, right? We have to be able to show them that not only do they know us and like us, but they can also trust us with their biggest asset. At the end of the day, you guys, when someone's selling a house, guess what? That's the biggest financial investment that they have for most people. And if it's the biggest financial investment that they have, they're not going to just trust it to you because you're cousin Betty and you sell real estate part-time, right? So if you can't deliver value and trust and make them articulate or are able to articulate to them the trust that you have, then they're not going to use you. So when we talk about our sphere, Tom Ferry says, and I don't know if he got the stat from wherever he just made out of his, out of thin air as well, is that 10% of our sphere should transact with us. And so then it goes back to your database. How big is your database of your sphere and where is it? Is it on a piece of paper? Do you have old school Rolodex card that you have your people that know you, or is it just your Facebook friend group? Is that your sphere, or do you really have them in a CRM system? Do you have them in Follow Boss? Do you have them on Lofty? Do you have them in somewhere where you are able to acknowledge who they are, how you know them, you've tagged them properly? And so if you haven't done any of that, I invite you in the next week, most certainly before the end of the year, to be able to tag properly every single sphere member that you have. Now, and this is also a wonderful opportunity when we're calling to express our gratitude for Thanksgiving and for the holiday season, to clean up our database, to confirm that the information that we have for them is accurate still. Right? People change phone numbers, people change email addresses, people move without telling us. And so this is an opportunity for us to call them and get that information from them. Okay. So that's your checklist number one here, right? Get your database clean and updated, because things change, things move. This is also a wonderful opportunity if you don't have a clean database, to, when you call them, instead of saying, hey, do you want to sell or buy real estate? Shut up. Don't ask that question initially. Say, hey, you know what? I've done a really shitty job of really, getting to know you a little bit better, depending on how well you know them, and say, hey, can you tell me, how old are your kids right now? Right? You should know their kids' names. And if they don't have any kids, you should know their dogs' names and how old their dogs are. And if they have a boy dog or a girl dog, you should know, again, if they have kids, and what stage of life they're in, and what do they enjoy. You should know what type of coffee they drink. If they don't drink coffee, what is their favorite drink of choice? You should know what they like, what sports they're into. If they're not into sports, what sports team they like to watch, or what games they like to play, whatever. Like, you should have more intimate information about each individual person that is in your database. If you don't, then they're just a stupid name on there, right? So who has that? Who feels like they have an amazing database with all of that information with all their past clients? Anyone? Really, Brian?
It can be better. I always clean it up every year because things change. It's about the data. So the CRM for me, if I can go ahead and specialize, depending on the seasonality, if it's coming up on spring, be like, oh, if I want to send a Popeye that is related, I'm not going to send, a cute garden gift or something like that to everybody unless they really like that. And to go on to this detail, I had a client came into town and her children had a peanut allergy. Not my kids. Why should I care about that, right? But peanut allergy, and she wanted M&M peanuts because her children didn't come on the trip with her. So she came to closing by herself. So I got her this massive bag with a bottle of champagne of M&M peanuts and that. And she goes, how did you remember that? And I was like, I just know that you don't get it quite often. So in my CRM, it has that detail in there from her. And it's those little intimate moments that make them feel special, as we should, because they are supporting our journey and our work that we're doing. So why not take a moment to really, find an interest in what they're doing? And it's those little details that, that take it a long way and build those relationships for a lifetime.
Who has that? Like, who aside from Brian feels like you have a good amount of information on every single, again, we're not talking about just past clients, and that was a past client of his, but your sphere, right? People that you know, starting with your immediate family and then working outwards, depending on where you know them from. Do you have them tagged? Oh, this is a gym buddy. This is a friend from this sports group, or this is a from Booster Club, or wherever organization that you know them from. Do you have them tagged properly? Because guess what could happen when you have them tagged properly? You can send specific messages to those groups of people that fall in that category group, right? And so I invite you guys to really take time. And I know it feels like a hassle, but this is a wonderful time to call them, right? If you don't have their information, this is a wonderful time to send them a video text message. This is a wonderful time to be able to pick up the phone and actually talk to them, or send them a survey saying, hey, can you fill out some of this information for me? Even though ideally you'd call them on the phone and ask those questions yourself, so you can continue to build that build that relationship and foster it. Okay. So that is for your sphere. That's your homework assignment for them, is to get your database in order, make sure that it is on some type of a CRM that you can rely on, go back to, and connect with. And then you make sure that you're connecting with them at least once a quarter, and doing pop buys and all the other different ways. And we're not going to get into really, we're not going to dive in deep with that, because I want to spend a little bit more time and energy in talking about how we can make sure that we have enough people that we're talking to be able to get to number of transactions we want to do. So that's your sphere, your past clients, kind of put those together. Let's talk about the amount of contacts you need to make. I asked some of them agents yesterday. I'll ask the group here today, can you please post in the comments below how many contacts you feel like you need to make in 2025 per day, assuming that you're working 5 days a week. I know some of us work 4, some of us work 6 or 7. How many contacts you need to make every single day to be able to hit your numbers for 2025? What is that number? Susan says 40. Holy crap, that is a lot. Are we talking about new contacts, Susan? Or are we talking about like just overall people that you want to talk to? Unmute yourself and tell me. I don't even know where you are. Where's Susan? Susan.
That's new contacts, database, open house leads.
Okay. So if you were to break that down to just people that are brand new that you've never spoken to before, how many would that be?
Oh, much less, 5.
Okay. Yeah. So typically, right, it's going to be between 5 to 10 contacts per day is what most people need to be able to satisfy their goals that they have. Now, obviously, if you're trying to sell like 40, 50, 60 homes a year, then that number has to go up to, 12, 15, 16 or 16 contacts a day. But you guys, if you don't know that number, then you need to get that number. And Kim, if it's 10, right, if that's your number, then how consistently are you hitting 50 contacts a week? Right. And then here's the funny part, and the surprising part is that if you don't hit your contacts per day or per week, then guess what? That tells me that you are not on track to hit your numbers, or you're not on track to hit your goals that you have. Like, you guys, it is complete math. There's no like mystery behind any sales funnels or any sales experience. It's all about how many people you talk to every single day, how many conversations you have. And there's 2 factors. One is how many conversations you have, and 2 is how good you are at the conversations you have. And what happens is that the better you get with those conversations, the fewer conversations you need to have to be able to hit that goal, or you hit the same amount of conversation contacts, but you just end up selling more homes because you're better at what you do. You understand? So what would you say, Brian, is like, what's like from if you were talking to them and you're like, hey, I'm a brand new agent, what's the best way to make contacts? Where would you make contacts?
I mean, Tom talks about the cornerstones, but trying to pick up open houses for people. There's an ABCs of database. Not everybody is in Tom Ferry, but going in there, it's a memory jogger for everybody. I think that's what we tell our agents when they start, is to go in there, because we're in our own way sometimes, or we don't know what we don't know. And so we may not be thinking everybody that we can contact. And just hairdresser, dry cleaner, like there's so many opportunities out there. But going to different YPN events, not necessarily around real estate. If you're a younger agent, or you can, you don't have to be young just to go to YPN. But things like that, try to get in touch with, sports, if there's any intramural sports teams, dog parks in your area, like something that you have commonality with, because it's easier to build those relationships. And then you can start talking about, you growing your business.
I think the commonality between everything that he just said is when you get belly to belly with people, you're going to have a higher chance of conversion than you are if you were over the phone. Now, mind you, sometimes we can't have 10 or 15 conversations, brand new conversations every single day, belly to belly. It'd be great. It's ideal. And that's why, open houses are so important and so great, especially with all the changes that have taken place in our industry. But no matter what it is, making sure that you hit those contacts, no matter what. And the challenge is that we get busy, don't we? We get busy showing houses, we get busy writing offers and counter offers and home inspections and yada, yada. There's so many things that happen. And so having those opportunities to be able to connect with people and talk to them and make sure that you front load that in the beginning of your day, so that the rest of your day could be set up for all the rest of the service activities that you need to make. Does that make any sense? And so I invite you guys, like, if there's nothing else that you take away from today's call, is to clean your database and making sure that you are relentless about making those contacts every single day. And I remember Ryan, when he was an agent back in the day, I had this contest with him where he had, I don't remember if it was like 10, what was it, Ryan? Do you remember? I can't see it. Your hands are super small. You have to come up closer. And I'm not making fun of your small hands. 6. Okay, he had to make 6 contacts a day. Bro, I can't hear you. You got to freaking turn the mic on. 15, 11, 12, whatever. It was some number, and he thought it'd be easy, and it wasn't, right? Like, it's not easy to make those contacts every single day. And I don't care if you're like circle prospecting. I don't care if you are at the grocery store and everyone's walking by, like those people that try to sell chocolates or whatever. I don't care how you do it. And obviously there's more high intentional opportunities like an open house where people are actually coming to you because they're thinking about selling or buying. But even if you're just door knocking, I don't care how you do it. Making those constant contacts every single day is going to be the magic formula of how you get the numbers you want or sell the houses you want to sell. Like everyone says, I want to sell, X amount of homes, whatever that is. But they're not willing to put in the work for it, right? They're not willing to do the work that's needed to be able to make that happen. And the work for me personally is those contacts. Like everything else can all go to crap. Everything else could not really matter except for making those contacts. I apologize. I'm not really looking at the points here. Let's see. Started. Yeah, awesome. Yeah, like Kim's talking about, like, taking people out, social network events. Like there's so many different ways that we can connect with people and get creative. Like I don't, if you're like, gosh, Nazar, I hate door knocking, then don't freaking go door knock. Like go do something else. As long as we're talking to 10 or whatever that number is for you, humans every single day that are adults that have the capacity to be able to buy, and ask them if they want to buy, sell, or invest in real estate, then that's your contact, right? If you knock on a door and some grandma answers the door that has no, buying power or, is not a decision maker, that doesn't count, nor does like a teenager or a young child that comes to the door, that does not count as a contact. Don't fool yourself. But if you're talking to a human that's an adult that potentially can buy, that's a contact that you can make. And I invite you guys to do that. Like put it in your freaking calendar. If you can be relentless about anything else, like this is the most important thing. Okay. Like I literally can't express or accentuate this enough, that you need to be making those contacts every single day. And as simple as that sounds and as easy as it sounds, there's so many things that get in the way from that happening. Right. And so that's where our priority comes into play. Like, what are you going to prioritize in your day to make sure that nothing stops you from doing that? Now, if you guys know and follow people like Tom Toole and Byron Lazine and even like Lisa Chinati, who's a good friend of mine, they are relentless about their contacts. They're relentless about making sure that they hit their numbers, because those leading indicators are going to dictate if they're on track to hit their goals or not. And these guys are high producers, right? They're not selling 5 to 10 homes a year. They're selling hundreds of houses a year. And imagine like how simple it would be. And I think so many of us get so caught up in our own way and make up so many over the top reasons of excuses of why we can't do what we need to do. But if you break it down to its most simple form, the 1, 2, 3s, the ABCs of real estate is about contacts. Right. And so like, if that's not a part of your biggest part of your business plan for 2025, then you're going to lose out, because we overcomplicate things. We we say, oh, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we're going to do this. But like, if we break down all the, peel back those layers, it all comes down to, are we having enough conversations with people every single day? And the cool thing is that when we do social media, right, like that's another lead pillar. Those are just vehicles that we can use to be able to get us to more contacts, right? I don't give a shit, excuse my French, if you have 2 people that watch your video, or if you have a viral video that gets millions of views. It doesn't matter as long as a DM comes through or you're able to have a dialogue with somebody, right? And speaking of social media, you guys know that the trend from now on is not view count. Do you guys know what the trend is? Like what they care about? Do you guys know? It's shares. Doesn't matter how many people like your post. Doesn't matter how many people comment on your post. Those things are important, but not as important as the shares. So when you guys are making your videos, the call to action, one of the call to actions, aside from, hey, contact me if you want more information about yada yada, should be, hey, if you know anybody that would like to see this or would find this information useful, please share this video with your friends or whomever. Right? Because you guys know we all do this. We have what's it called? Real friends? No, shoot, I'm forgetting the funny word. I don't know, like you guys send reels to people, right? Like funny memes funny reels that you watch or something inspiring, whatever, you guys send them to friends and family and people. That's what social media cares about. They care about how many people are sharing that reel to somebody else. And if they see me and you and all of us sharing, reels with one another, then like, oh, well, this must be super important for them to have taking the time to share this with somebody else. And that's how it becomes more shareable, more exposed by them. Does that make sense? Okay, that's just a small little nugget. Hopefully you guys can take advantage of that. Okay, what questions do you guys have about making those contacts? What limiting beliefs do you guys have about making those contacts? And how do we overcome that? What do you guys think?
You're on. On this episode of Carpool Karaoke,
He's like trying to melt me in this car.
it's called Sunlight. Quick question, guys. Who? He's got all of this fogged up right now.
Hot.
I don't.
You won't open the window, damn it.
It doesn't open unless the car's on. Guys, let's
on.
Anyway, let's get to gratitude right now. This I'm not grateful for. So this is something that I'm going to give a recommendation. Does everybody have enough? This is going to be one for the records.
It's like one of those dogs.
Can
That's
you
like
get out? I'll take it from here. So let's talk about this. Is anyone with a loss of the amount of contacts or not know where to get them from? Like, does everybody have enough contacts or are you trying to find more? So, okay, so what if we all went into our phones? I actually looked it up. I have 4,700 contacts in my cell phone. What if you took, which is a lot, right? But I probably don't have information for all of them. If they're not willing to send me real estate business, why are they in my phone, right? Like they should, if I have taken the time to put them in my contacts, what if we spent X amount of hours per day, per week, just going in until the end of the year and either calling, texting, however they want to be communicated with, and say, hey there, I'm just going through a moment of gratitude right now, it being the season. And I was kind of going through my contacts and came across you. And I just wanted to tell you, remember that time we did whatever? I know it's been a while since we've talked, but I just really wanted to tell you how grateful I was for that moment. Anyway, how's everything going with you? Yeah, real estate's going well with me. I appreciate that. Oh, y'all are looking to buy a house next year? Boom. So it doesn't always have to be like we go into that moment of real estate mindset. It can be pulled back into it, but do the soft sell. And so at 4750, and if they're not somebody you're willing to call and kind of have that moment with, get them out of your phone, because that's going to be a huge aha for you. Because back in the old days, you used to have to go through the white pages to find phone numbers and go, oh, what was that number again? So if anybody's looking for a way to, over the next 2 months, to get, back in touch with your database, and it takes away from the whole, like you said, you're looking to buy, sell, or invest. It now is just you being in gratitude, which there's not a person in this world, when you tell somebody you're in gratitude, that they're not going to go ahead and reciprocate that. So the law of reciprocity right there is going to get you ready for Q1. Let's not wait till Q1 to get there.
All right, sorry, that's a little bit cooler in here. All right, so we have the contacts. We have a ton of people. I have like probably 4,900 or whatever in my phone, and a lot of those are repeats, unfortunately, because Apple sucked at in the very beginning. So what are you guys going to do? Right? How are you going to make those contacts? How are you going to make sure that you don't let anything else stop you from talking to somebody new every single day? Ideally face to face, but if not face to face, then at least on the phone. What changes are you going to make in your routine that's going to allow you to do that? How are you on your phone going to time block the time needed to either door knock or make the contacts however you want to see fit? Some people are night owls, and so they work best at night, right? If you're that type of person, raise your hand if you are a night owl more than a morning person. That's interesting. Okay. So if you are a night owl like Sandy, then make your contacts at night, right? You're going to get people home. If you're like me and you like to wake up at 4:30 or 5 in the morning and you're just more of an early bird, then don't call people at 5 in the morning. They could probably get upset. But you most certainly can prepare your day for it so that when the time is right and appropriate, starting at 8 o'clock in the morning, that you can make those phone calls. I used to love door knocking in the morning at 8:15 to 10 o'clock. The reason I did that is because that's when the moms would drop off their kids at school, because I lived in an area where there's lots of families. They drop off their kids at school and then they get right back to home, and they're starting their day, and I'd catch them right before they got in the hustle and bustle of their day. I'd be able to have that conversation with them, see if they're looking to buy or sell or invest in real estate. And if they didn't, awesome, I moved on. I'm not trying to force anybody to sell. I'm not trying to persuade or convince anybody to make a move, right? When a life event takes place, naturally people move. right? When a life event takes place, people naturally make a move. And that's going to lead us into the next topic is how do we know what those life events are and how do we put ourselves in those situations where we could be there. Now, listen, you guys, like if someone's getting a divorce or if someone loses somebody, like you don't want to be an ambulance chaser, right? You don't want to be that sleazy realtor that's gonna, go to funeral homes and see who's on the docket for the day and go up to them and share your condolences and say, oh, by the way, here's my real estate card if you guys need to sell your house. Like, don't be that person because there are some people that do that. But think of ways you can be involved or figure out a way to be able to, make that connection so you could be there. Or heck, there's people that die every single day, right? You got the boomers that are flying off or dying off. Like maybe you talk about how you can help them prepare with trusts and how to prepare for that exit, if you will, and have that be a conversation you have through social media and become that expert. Right? I mean, can you imagine? Like, there's so many cool ways for us to be able to create these niches that allow us. And guess what, you guys? You don't need to have social media profiles, or you don't need to have one social media profile. You could have 5 different Instagram accounts, and every single one of those, even though it'd be tedious and time consuming, you can be strategic about having a different message based on the lead pillar that you're trying to attract. I mean, think about it. If your whole channel was all about you talking about trusts and wills and probate and, or if you're talking to investors, 1031 exchanges, how to look at, the ROI return and the different ways of looking at, the different returns, and then talking about different investment properties and showcasing different investment properties. Like there's so many different niches that we can attract people that we want to connect with and having those types of conversations with them. And of course, the social networking events that tie to those types of people, tied to the types of people that we want to get to. Like if you want to have the older generation because you want to sell their older homes, then again, talking to attorneys, talking to different people that would have more connection with them, talking to people in assisted living facilities, right? Building rapport with those people that manage those facilities so you can be a resource to them so you don't seem like a sleazy, bloodsucker, but like you're there to provide value so that they naturally want to reciprocate and give you business when that time is right. Does that make sense? Okay, I know we've got a couple minutes left. I want to know, do you guys have any questions? Listen, we didn't get to every single lead pillar, right? There's literally like 30, 40 different ways that we can create business for ourselves. And the beautiful thing about real estate is that we can reinvent ourselves every single year. If there's a lead pillar that just does not work for you and you think it's an easy thing, but you just hate it, stop doing it. Stop it. Here's your invitation. Here's your permission to stop. Pick up lead pillars that you like. Do things that you will enjoy, because if you don't, you're going to hate it. You're going to find all the excuses in the world to not, right? But if you do like something, then you'll do it and you'll be happy doing it. And if you don't like people, get out of the industry. If you are an introvert that just hates it and you dread having a conversation, I have news for you. This is not it. This is not it. This is not the field for you. And I know that yesterday when I was talking to my team, I was like saying, hey, you guys might want to leave the industry. And I wasn't trying to kick them out, but I was inviting them politely that sometimes it's just okay to quit, right? Quitting is not failure. Quitting could be looked at as a pivot. And maybe I'm talking to myself now about certain things. But at the end of the day, I invite you guys to say, am I doing what I enjoy? Are the lead pillars that I'm currently working on, are they working for me? And what other lead pillars do I need to add to my database or to my business in 2025 that's going to allow me to enjoy my life and also sell more homes? Because guess what? 2025 is going to be a phenomenal year. It's going to be a freaking banner year. Okay? I don't care about your political beliefs. Like, I think that we have some momentum going into 2025 that can lead into us having a good year. And so, as rates will continue to come down a little bit, as people are cashing out their Bitcoins that they have made a crap ton of money on recently, like there's going to be some cash flowing around. And here's an opportunity for us as agents to make sure that we level up ourselves first so that we are desirable and have enough value to bring to the table. And then with that, we can say, hey, here we are. Let's go. Let's get into real estate because it's a stable opportunity for you to be able to create generational wealth. I took a red eye from California to visit this guy here and Ryan. And when I got here, hopped in a car with this guy that had moved here from Jamaica. Super cool dude. We were talking, like, this was like 5 o'clock in the morning, and we were talking. He was talking about these new high rises and these like apartment buildings that were being built everywhere. And he's like, yeah, this is crazy. He's like, these guys aren't making money, but they are setting their generation up for generational wealth. And I never thought about it that way before. If you think about it, like, the person that plants the tree today doesn't get to enjoy the benefits of the shade that tree will provide 50 years from now. And some of you guys, we were talking about this, you're like, well, Nazar, I make enough money. My husband makes enough money. Like, we don't really need more. I don't need to sell another 10, 15, 20 homes because we're comfortable. I'm like, well, that's cool. And that's awesome. That's fine. But what if you can create something that you can build generational wealth for your future? What if you can set up accounts or buy investment properties for your, generations that you don't even know exist yet or don't exist yet? Right? We can create massive amounts of opportunity for the people that are yet to be born or that we have stewardship over. And if you're not married or if you don't have any kids, that's okay, because you can still make a difference, right? Like, Ryan and Ryan are going to donate all of their wealth to me when they die. And I'm grateful for that. Like, I think what a generous thing. And so you can do that too, right? You can create funds for people. You can make a difference in this world. And you guys, you don't want to be 90 years old selling houses, right? I most certainly don't want to. And you also don't want to, like, die and like no one remember your name, right? So make an impact. Like, do something exciting, make a difference, be passionate. He was saying I was going to die on the flight here, and I didn't. And maybe I'll die on the flight back home, but maybe I won't. Either way, I want to be remembered, and not for the bad things I've done in my life, but for the good things. And so I want to do more good things. I want to make more of an impact, right? Like, I want to be able to have someone say, gosh, when they talk behind my back, I want to be good things, but I want them to remember me either way. And so I invite you guys to do the same. You're not mediocre people, right? If you were, you would not be on this call. And so if you're like me, which I think you are, then you have a desire to achieve greatness. And you have that potential within you. Every single person does. And so let's tap into that. Let's tap into that potential that we all have. I'm grateful for all of you. I'm thankful that you are in my life. I'm thankful that most of you, or a part of you, have decided to partner with Five. And those that don't, that's fine. I don't get offended. But ultimately, I want you guys to be passionate about what you do, right? Be excited about it. Stop living just day to day, just going through the motions. Because if you are, it gets really, like, life gets boring. Get excited. Do something exciting. Be passionate. And I invite you, if you guys do those things, you'll have a more enjoyable life. You'll be able to make more of an impact. And people can see that, right? People can see that. Sherman, I love that. I don't know how you did that, number 5, but that was pretty dang awesome. Okay. All right, guys. That's all we have. Do you guys have any questions, concerns about this thing? Now, again, I know we didn't get into super diving deep because that would take hours to do, but every single lead pillar that you have worked in the past, I want you to be intentional with it. If you say, hey, I did 5 transactions from this lead pillar, then how do you make sure that you're going to be able to do the same things, that you're going to be able to get those same number that you can duplicate for next year? Okay. I know some people are going to be skydiving next year because they didn't hit their goals. Some people were chicken and they didn't make any goals. And then some people are going to owe me like $5,000, I think. I don't know if I made that goal with anybody, but anyway. All right. Any thoughts, questions, concerns you guys have?
Karaoke requests.
Seriously, I can sing. I could carry a tune. Where's the mics?
Okay.
All right, he doesn't want to. Anyway, that's later on tonight. All right, guys, thank you so much. Have an amazing Thursday. Next week, obviously, is Thanksgiving, so we will not have a masterclass, but happy Thanksgiving. I hope that you guys find people that you love and have an enjoyable Thanksgiving. And again, this year or this season is all about gratitude, and I can't express my gratitude enough for life and for you guys. And I'm just happy to be alive. So hopefully you guys do the same. All right, guys, have a good weekend. We'll talk to you guys in a couple weeks. See ya.